Hello everyone, my name is Amber and this is a Lovely Yarn podcast. Today I have a pattern roundup for you. I have a list of somewhere between 18 and 20 free patterns, knitting patterns that I think would be great for road trips or for travel. There is some criteria that I think is important when I'm planning a project to take with me on a trip. And so I'm going to talk about that real quick and then we're going to get into all the patterns. Okay, so first thing, I want a pattern that is simple enough that it's not going to require my full undivided attention because I am in the car with at least my husband, sometimes one or two of my children. We usually have an audiobook on or music. And so I don't want to be so enthralled in my pattern that I'm ignoring the people around me. Also, I like it to be easy to pick up and put down because of the scenery. Sometimes I get a little distracted if there's beautiful things outside my car window. Also, you get into conversations with people, you make stops for the restroom or to get snacks. And so I like a project that I can easily pick up and put down and not worry about where I am in the pattern. I need a project to have small footprint. Now I have packed and taken sweaters with me and I don't typically do that because I am the type of person who likes to knit what I'm in the mood to knit. It's kind of like I wear what I'm in the mood to wear. I don't pre-plan my outfits. I wake up in the morning and I decide what I want to wear depending on my mood and of course the weather. I'm kind of like that with my knitting projects. I have multiple knitting projects going on at all times. And that way, when I'm in the mood to knit, I can pick up whatever I'm in the mood to knit. And so I like to take multiple projects with me when we travel. Because of this, I have to take projects that are smaller. I typically take one medium-sized bag that I can set at my feet. And so I need to fit everything in there. So I like to take projects that require one, maybe two skeins of yarn, but really not more than that. I'm definitely not going to be packing an Afghan or something big and bulky like a huge sweater or a blanket because that is just going to take up too much of my knitting real estate in my bag. The last thing, I like to take projects that do not require a lot of extra notions, specifically like many different needle sizes. Usually when you're knitting a pattern, at the most patterns, I'm going to say you're not going to need anything more than 2 different needle sizes, but sometimes you need more than that. Also, I don't want a project that's going to require a bunch of stitch markers and stuff like that. I always have my little leather pouch with my notions in it, like my stitch markers and my light bulb markers. I take some scissors, a darning needle, a little ruler, but other than that, I don't want to have to worry about taking a bunch of extra knitting notions. Okay, so we're going to get into the actual patterns right now. Before we do though, I just want to let you know what I'm wearing because I know you guys will ask if I don't. This is the Tulsta tank. This is a pattern by Rebecca Clow of Crea Bea Designs, and this I knit the fingering weight version, but I knit it with a sport weight yarn. I used Drops Safran. I will just link the colors that I used down below. I did mine in this striped pattern. It's a really comfortable tank. I really love it. Let's jump into the patterns now. I have a variety. They will all be linked below in a Ravelry bundle, or you can just go to each individual pattern that's listed down below and go straight to the Ravelry page for that pattern if you're only interested in that particular pattern. Let's start with our head. Let's start with hats. Okay, first up is a pattern by Emily Baldwin, and this is called the Ribbed Beanie. It's a DK weight hat. It only comes in one size, which she labels as an adult size, but it's basically an all over 2x2 ribbing hat, and it's knit in the round. And I think that this would be a really good match for some fun indie dyed yarn that is DK weight. I have some skeins of this particular type of yarn that I bought off of Indie Dyers. It does not have nylon in it, so it's not something I would use to make socks, but I have like a single skein of each color, and I've thought, well, that was kind of silly, but I think this would be a really great pattern for that, or you could hold 2 fingering weights double and make a really fun marled hat as well. If you want something a little bit heavier weight, there is an bulky weight pattern by Isabel Vasilidis, and it is called the Daily Beanie. She also has a kids or child's version of this that I will include in the bundle, but I'm not going to talk about that one in particular. I'm going to talk about the adult version, and I think it's only one size, but this is knit, as I said, with bulky weight. Her sample is 2 DK weight yarns held together with fingering. You could also use 2 worsted weight together. And you knit this on a 6.5 millimeter, which is a US 10.5. So this beanie is going to fly off your needles. It's going to be so quick. I think this would be a really fun project to like marl together, depending on how many skeins of yarn you want to take along with you. If you're not a big beanie person, but you like berets, I have you covered as well. This pattern is by Julie Hayes. It's called Colette, and it is a worsted weight beret. It is very chic, very sophisticated. I love the look of berets. When I was in high school, I actually had a beret and I thought I was so cool wearing it. However, now I'm all about the practical here in the Pennsylvania winters. And so I like a beanie, and I like a thick beanie that comes over and covers my ears. I feel like I don't have that same kind of coverage with a beret. To me, a beret is more of a fashion accessory, but it's a really cute one. So if you like berets, this is a great pattern for you. It comes in one size, and yeah, it's probably a pretty basic beret pattern, but it is free, and I think it would be an easy one for travel knitting. Okay, we're going to move into neck accessories, and this next one is actually one that I'm thinking I may cast on. I say thinking because I have so many things I want to knit this summer. But this one is called the Low Key Bandana, and it is by Low Key Bold Knit. It is a bandana knit with sport weight yarn. The designer actually used Drops Safran, which I have quite a bit of left over from this tank, so I'm all set with that. It has written lace instructions. There's no charts in this one, and it only uses 175 yards for the size that she wrote it for, but she states that it's a very customizable pattern. You can make it bigger if you want to. I noticed that a few of the Ravelry users had included little I-cord, little I-cord ties on each end of the bandana to make it easier to tie in their hair. And this is actually how I would use this particular bandana. I have lots of neckerchiefs. I don't really need any more of those, but I would actually really like a knit bandana. And so if I make this, I'm going to make the I-cord ties so that I can easily tie it into my hair. Okay, now I have 2 patterns by Purl Soho. They're both bandana style neck accessories. They are a little bit different though in how they are knitted as well as how they look, but I'm kind of grouping them together because they're both made with sport weight yarn. And the first, let's just go over the first one. It's called the Saltwater Bandana. This bandana is knit tip to tip. And the really cool thing about this particular bandana is that whoever designed this designed a very slow, long taper on either end. So you get a skinnier edge on each end, which means it'll be easier to tie. There won't be so much bulk in the knot when you knot it around your neck, which is real. I appreciate that. So this is stockinette with slipped stitches along the edges to give it that nice polished look, and I love the yarn. So this is actually a Purl Soho yarn that is in the sample. It is their Japanese denim cotton. Now at the time of filming, this was on sale for like $11.25 a ball or something like that, and I don't know that it will be by the time I actually get this video put out. But even if it's not, I love that dark denim color they used for this. I would definitely consider using that. I will go ahead and link this yarn down below through my affiliate link, but it is beautiful. Now, if you want something a little bit fancier, may I suggest to you the Little Dot Bandana, also by a designer with Purl Soho and also knit with sport weight yarn. This pattern is written with 2 different size options, the bandana and then also a shawl version. The pattern is made in cattail silk held double with the tussock sock, which is like a mohair type blend of, it's a lace weight yarn. Okay, this is worked differently because you cast on your widest edge and then you work down to the point. So it's knit differently than the other Purl Soho bandana. What I love about this one is that you've got those cute little eyelets. I love eyelets. You're gonna see I've got some patterns. I've got several patterns in here with eyelets in them. I really like eyelets. I think they just make something look a bit more feminine, and so I really like this one. If you have a single skein of fingering weight yarn and it's beautiful and you don't know what to do with it, can I suggest to you this next shawl? This is the Be Stitched shawl. This is by Dora Violet. It uses 1 skein of fingering weight. You're knitting on 4mm or US 6 needles, and it's knit side to side. It's got eyelets. It's got asymmetrical rows of eyelets. And so it basically really lets your yarn shine because it's simple, but it's got a little bit of interest with the eyelets. So you can pick that favorite skein of fingering weight yarn and just knit to your heart's desire. If a DK weight shawl is more your speed, then I would suggest the Pink Panther. And this pattern is by Gretchen Seal. And it takes 410 to 425 yards of DK weight yarn. It's knit on a US 7 or 4.5mm needle. And it also has eyelets. It has garter ridges with eyelet rows interspersed throughout. What I love about this is it's a triangular shaped shawl, but it's a very narrow and long, so it's not super deep. I prefer more narrow because then I can wrap it with less bulk, but I'm still getting warmth. I don't like super deep shawls. I find I have a lot of them that I've made and I don't really wear them as much. They make me feel too hot and there's always too much bulk. So this is one of my favorite shapes of shawls, long and narrow. You knit this one tip to tip, and she used, for her sample, the pink one, she used 2 strands of mohair yarn held together, which would be really beautiful as far as giving you like a soft, airy, fluffy shawl, but you could also just do a single skein of or a single strand of DK weight. Okay, we're going to move into mitts, and the first pair is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. These are the Maze fingerless knits. I've actually knit this pattern twice. I knit a pair for my husband and a pair for my son. It is a worsted weight pattern on US 6 or 4mm. It comes in 4 sizes from toddler to adult large, and these are very, I would say, beginner-friendly mitts because Tin Can Knits also includes a pretty in-depth video or in-depth tutorial that they link in the pattern for these particular mitts. They do have a thumb gusset. They're knit from the cuff to the fingertip, and they're knit in the round, and then they include options for either fingerless mitts, or if you want to close off the top and make actual mittens, they also include instructions for that. Okay, I've knit this next pattern. I absolutely love this pattern and highly recommend the pattern and the finished project. These are the Point Edward mitts by Fairlight Fibers. I made a pair of these for my daughter just last year. They're DK weight mitts. I knitted hers using 2 strands of fingering weight held double, made the squishiest, loveliest, warmest little fingerless mitts. And now there's only 1 size for this pattern, and it's meant to fit like a woman's size, but I feel like you could play around with that by changing your needle size and even your yarn, the type of yarn that you use. What I love about this and what my daughter really loved about it, so she's a photographer, and when she is outside shooting in cooler weather, you know, she cannot have full gloves or mittens on because she needs to be able to touch her screen and adjust settings on her camera. So these particular mittens have an extra long like cuff that you fold down, and then when you want extra warmth, you just let that cuff out, and so you can make it as long as you want. I made it so that it would pretty much cover her finger, like over her fingertips, and she said how much she loved them and how great that was for when she's out doing sessions in cold weather. If you want a full mitten and you want heavier weight yarn to knit them in, then I would suggest the Ultimate Mitten, another pattern by Purl Soho. They are knit with Aran weight yarn on size 4mm needles. The pattern comes in 5 sizes from kids up to adult extra large, and the pattern includes instructions for fingerless mitts or the actual mitten. Yeah, this would probably be a great beginner pattern. I have not looked at the pattern myself. I mean, I looked at it, but I didn't read down through the entire pattern, but I would assume just by looking at how this mitten is constructed that this would be really easy if you're knitting a mitten for the first time. Let's talk about some socks. I feel like socks are a given when you think about travel knitting or car knitting because they are so small and portable. And so I often knit socks when I travel. I often knit vanilla socks, but I want to talk about some other sock patterns that aren't just your basic vanilla sock. So the first one is another Tin Can Knits pattern. It is called the Rye Socks. I've knit this one before. There's a fingering weight version and there is a DK weight version. They are exactly the same as far as how many sizes are available, how the sock is constructed, and so forth. The difference is, of course, the stitch counts because it's two different weights of yarn. I knit the fingering weight. I don't have them with me anymore. I gave them to my mom as a gift, but they made just a scrumptious, squishy pair of warm socks. I love them so much. I had knit them in a lavender color that Flower Hill Fleeces, back when she was dyeing yarn, like before she had her mill, she dyed this really beautiful lavender color. Honey Lavender Latte, I think it was called, inspired by our local coffee shop, one of the summer drinks. Anyway, they were beautiful socks and I really like this pattern. It's top down, it has a heel flap and gusset, and then it has this garter ridge panel that runs down the front of it. So you will be doing some purling. I think it's like every other row in that little panel. So not the whole way around, just in that panel section, you will purl. But it's not that much purling. And it keeps things a little bit interesting, so you're not just knitting around and around. But really like these. Have not knit the DK weight, but I don't know why I would not like that version as well. Okay, now we have the Simple Shorty sock by Leslie Taylor. It's really easy actually to make any sock pattern a shorty pattern because you just shorten the leg, but perhaps you're nervous because you've never done that before. And so this may be a good pattern for you. And it is a fingering weight pattern that is knit in the round in your preferred needles. So whether that's DPNs, magic loop, or 9-inch circulars, it's knit top down. There is a short row heel and it is only written for one size, but of course you can adjust the length of that by just adding more rounds. And also if you are a seasoned sock knitter, it would be super easy to adjust the width as well, just by adjusting your cast on stitch count. I have two more sock patterns, both DK weight yarn. The first one is just a vanilla DK weight sock pattern. It is called DK weight vanilla socks. It is by Crazy Sock Lady Designs. It is knit on US 3 or 3.25 millimeter. It's a top down heel flap and gusset sock, and she includes a video tutorial, and this pattern comes with 3 sizes, small through large, so that's really nice. Now, perhaps you want a DK weight sock, but you want one with something fun to do in it, some interest, some texture. So then I would suggest the biscuit socks. This is a pattern by Fluffy Fibers. It is also knit on a 3 millimeter needle, and it comes with 2 different sizes. It is knit top down, and it has a Dutch heel, which I don't know what that is. So I would have to look that up, but I don't think I've ever knit a Dutch heel. I'm a heel flap and gusset girl. I stick with what I like and what works for me. So I don't know what the Dutch heel is, but I think that this would be a good option if you want more than just like stockinette. Also the Hermione's Everyday Sock, which I did not include in this list because I feel like I've talked about that pattern so much on my podcast, but it is a great free pattern as well. It is fingering weight, beautiful squishy texture, and also very easy to memorize. So I would also recommend that. I've knit that one a lot when I've been traveling or when we've been camping, and you know, I want to be able to knit. It doesn't require my full attention all the time, so it's also great. Okay, so I have 2 patterns left, but they are very similar because they are both hot water bottle covers. It's just that one is for the larger, like regular size hot water bottle you would find at a drugstore, and then the other one is for a ½ liter, the cute little ones. So let's talk about the bigger one first. It is knit in DK weight yarn, and it is a pattern by Emily Baldwin. It's just called the hot water bottle cover. And again, this is another one of those things that you would cast on. It's probably like Judy's Magic Cast On for the one that you knit in the round. And that, I would say, if I was going to knit this like and take it, I would start it, I would cast it on and then have it set up for in the car or the plane. You can knit this flat as well. She gives instructions for flat and in the round, so that is up to you. Have you seen the little 1/2 liter water bottles? I think they are so stinking adorable. Would be great to give as gifts to women for like menstrual cramps and stuff, because they would be so discreet. You could probably just tuck them down into your pants. I don't know. But this is super cute. It is knit with fingering weight yarn. It is called the Shopkeeper's Friend, and it is a pattern by No Frills Knitting. So it is knit in the round, and you do use the Judy's Magic Cast On for this particular one. But this is just so adorable. I think these little hot water bottles are so adorable. Now that we're done discussing the patterns that I found, I would love for you to tell me, what are your favorite road trip patterns? Leave the name of them down below in the comment section. I read that, and I know other viewers read those comments as well. There's always a ton of information down in those comments that is left there by the viewers of these videos, so I appreciate that so much. Also, I would love to know, are you doing any traveling this summer? Let me know. My family and I are heading to Bar Harbor, to Acadia National Park. That is our favorite place to vacation. We have not been there since 2024, so we're gonna head back up there this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's just it's my happy place. I love Maine so very much. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have all of my contact information down below in the video description, so feel free to check that out and have fun with your knitting. Enjoy your knitting, enjoy whatever season you are in. I am loving summer here in the Northern Hemisphere in Pennsylvania in the United States of America, which is where I live. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.